Oddish is a Pokemon I've never used before. I've been playing Pokemon games my entire life, and ever since playing Generation 1 as a child, I've had an aversion to this little happy root lettuce thingy. It just never felt very good or very strong. When other Pokemon learned powerful grass moves like Razor Leaf, Oddish just seems so pale in comparison with its Absorb. I became a huge fan of Bulbasaur and Venusaur, but never Oddish. Even when I came back to Pokemon games as an adult, I found Pokemon like Victory Bell much more engaging. So today I'm going to do a solo run with Oddish through Pokemon Red. I've used a Pokemon randomizer to replace Bulbasaur with Oddish. This is so my rival will have Charmander to give me the hardest possible run. Now let's cover the rules for my challenge. I'll only use Oddish in battle. I'll have to use other Pokemon for HM moves to progress through the story. I won't use any items in battle, and I also won't be using Sleep Powder. It makes these runs over-centralized on sleep tactics. That's not very enjoyable for me to play. I don't have to think very much. All I do is spam Sleep Powder and then slowly whittle my opponents down with whatever damage dealing move I have, and that's not very engaging for you to watch. Every fight is going to be the same tactic. Sleep Powder and then a damage dealing move. So I'm just going to ban it right away so that isn't the case. It's going to make me think a bit harder and make the run overall much more enjoyable for you to watch. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's get right into it. Typically in these runs, Brock is the first noteworthy adversary. I thought maybe my rival would be tricky, but it turns out he wasn't. Oddish beat the Charmander on its first try. Good job, little lettuce. The first difficult fight is actually the bug catcher just before Pewter City. Oddish's Absorb only deals 1 damage to the Weedle, so I'll need to come back after leveling up a bit. At level 10, I can make my way through this fight. I actually use up all of my PP and have to take the Weedle out with struggle. Brock's gym is not noteworthy at all. I steamroll through the junior trainer and move on to Brock himself. Funny enough, the combination of rock and ground type makes me 4 times effective against both his Pokemon, and they both go down in 1 hit. Oddish is actually pretty awesome. Well, maybe I spoke too soon. While it's sped through the early part of the game, I realize a key disadvantage of Oddish on the next route. Watch this fight versus a bug catcher with 4 Pokemon. Since I've now learned Poison Powder, whenever I run out of PP on Absorb, I cannot damage Poison type Pokemon. Poison Powder also has 35 PP, which makes it take forever to deplete in order to use Struggle. This fight versus this bug catcher was actually so close. I barely get through it, surviving on only 1 HP. This is going to be a problem until I get access to Acid at level 24. While Acid won't deal much damage to Poison type Pokemon, at least I'll have a bit more PP. After that, I'll have to wait to Rocket Hideout until I get Double Edge. This challenge of fighting against Poison type Pokemon gets so much worse in Mount Moon. I was praising little Oddish for such a great early game, and that all comes to a grinding halt now. Zubat is a Poison Flying type, so I can only deal small amounts of damage to it with Absorb. Adding to an already bad situation, I cannot poison it with Poison Powder. Since I've decided not to use Sleep Powder, my best bet is to paralyze the Zubat. Hope it doesn't hit me with Leech Life, and whittle it down slowly with Absorb. Unfortunately, this tactic doesn't work at all until around level 22, when I can defeat the junior trainer's Zubat. Honestly, a lot of the trainers in Mount Moon are really hard to fight. The last that has an Oddish basically was impossible to defeat. She knocked me out like 3 or 4 times when I would go to her and just try to fight her. So I ended up using the junior trainer as a metric, since his Zubat is a lower level than the poison types further into Mount Moon. If it's this brutal to beat him, there's no way I'm getting past the nerd with Coughing and Grimer. In the end, the strategy has to be to train until level 24 when Oddish learns Acid. While Acid can't do incredible damage to poison types, it does have 30 PP, and it's enough to allow me to beat the remaining trainers and move on to Cerulean City. Next, I decide to face Misty, and like Brock, I have a type advantage here. Misty is a complete joke. I'm overleveled and I take her out on my first try. I even took her out before I faced my rival and did Nugget Bridge. I usually do things in the opposite order. The rival fight after is a bit scarier since Pidgeotto lands a sand attack early on, but I managed to defeat him on my first try as well. I really thought Charmander would be giving us more problems. However, things do start to get a bit tricky when we get on the SS Anne. After grabbing the items I need, specifically the TM for rest and the rare candy, I face the rival again. The first fight goes badly, with Cadabra dealing massive damage to Oddish while it uses Petal Dance. I'm gonna need to be very careful when I use Petal Dance. Since you're locked into it for 3 to 4 turns, you have to know that you're gonna take out the remaining Pokemon, or that you'll have to be able to deal with the confusion. The second fight, I opted to go for all Acid in order to avoid the RNG involved with Petal Dance, and things work out much better. I try Petal Dance again versus Surge. I probably shouldn't have. He has 3 Pokemon, so I figure I might be able to one-hit each one of them. Voltorb and Pikachu go down quickly, but Raichu lives through the last turn of my Petal Dance. Unfortunately, I hit myself in confusion the next turn, and Raichu gets an attack off. Luckily, little Oddish holds on through and finishes it with another Petal Dance the next turn. It's off to Rocket Hideout now. I am so ready to finally get a normal type attack. Giovanni in Rocket Hideout is a complete joke. Absorb for Onix and Petal Dance for Rhyhorn and Kangaskhan. This run is starting to feel like a speed run at this point. Erica isn't much better. Because of terrible Gen 1 AI, her Pokemon spam Poison Powder against me. Obviously Oddish is a poison type, so it's not even a fight. When they spam Poison Powder, they just don't affect me at all. I just sit there and laugh and slowly whittle them down. I grab Mega Drain and can proceed into the Pokemon Tower. The rival fight here is the first exceptionally hard fight, barring the Zubats that were before. Those were also really exceptionally hard. But I'm not even joking, this fight is really challenging. Normally this fight is so easy, but with Oddish it's just brutal. If Pidgeotto lands a single sand attack, the fight is basically over. Both Cadabra and Charmeleon do a lot of damage, and you need to be able to hit 3 consecutive Petal Dances in order to take them out. Sand Attack just makes Petal Dance miss far too often. Acid takes Pidgeotto down in 2 turns, and it one-hits Execute. Gyarados should be absorbed down until it faints. You're hoping for no Dragon Rages. In retrospect, I should have taught Mega Drain, as it would have made this fight much easier versus the Gyarados. Cadabra and Charmeleon are a done deal if you get to this part of the fight with green health. It takes me maybe 10 fights to get here, but finally I get here with green health and I'm able to take them down. Overall, I think I fought him about 30 times here. The first 20 I had to figure out exactly what the right strategy was, and then after that I had to luck out and get to the final 2 Pokemon with the right amount of HP. This is where the run really starts to slow down. I guess we could expect this. Oddish is strong versus Brock and Misty. It resists Surge, and due to AI, it gets a free win versus Erica. Koga is next, and just getting to him is going to be challenging. Pokemon Tower takes forever because the only move that we know that can deal good damage to Ghastly is Acid. Ghastly is a poison type. Acid is a poison type move. So it does hardly any damage. On top of how frustrating it is to fight the Ghastly and the Chandlers here, the rockets at the top of the tower actually knock me out a couple of times because they are primarily poison types. I actually lost the footage of myself fighting the Golbat, but the Golbat trainer took me out twice. So annoying. Once I got the Pokeflute though, I'm level 44, and I'm just really not feeling good about facing Koga at this level. But let's give it one try just to see how it goes. Before, I do want to rework my moveset. I probably should have done this earlier. It's time to teach Mega Drain as well as Double Edge, so I can make sure that I can actually start hitting poison types for more damage consistently. Since I'm not using Poison Powder, and Toxic is just around the corner, I'm gonna learn over Poison Powder and also Absorb. Mega Drain is just a logical replacement for Absorb, and for now, Double Edge is gonna be more useful than Poison Powder, especially versus Koga. One fight in versus Koga, and I already know that this just isn't gonna happen. I can't even get past his Muck, which is his second Pokemon. I'll start with Silphco, and if the rival there is too powerful, I'll have to train on the Rockets, and then if he's still too powerful, I'll have to go around Kanto and train more. The rival at Silphco is indeed too hard for me. Pidgeotto takes me out on my first 2 attempts. After that I figure out how to get past it, and Alakazam outspeeds me and one-hits me. Unfortunately, Oddish's terrible speed stat is finally stopping me. It's time to go train. I spend so much time flying all around Kanto, battling everyone I remember that I had skipped to this point. After all of this and defeating all the Rockets in Silphco, I'm level 60, so I decide to take Koga on again. The Koga fight does not inspire confidence. While the first Coughing and Muck go down pretty easily, the next Coughing gets me quite low on health. Wheezing is last, and I know it's the hardest of his team. I'm really hoping it won't use self-destruct. I luck out and it goes for low power moves, and I'm able to narrowly edge out the victory. For the time being, it's back to the fight with the rival, but the thoughts of Sabrina are starting to intimidate me. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to outspeed her Alakazam, even when I'm this over-leveled. Pidgeotto goes down, only hitting me with 1 wing attack. Execute is also easy. I trigger a potion so it goes down without dealing any damage. This time I apply the logic from our last fight regarding the Gyarados. Mega Drain all the way. Alakazam still outspeeds. How does a level 35 Pokemon outspeed my level 60 Pokemon? Come on! Luckily I have decent special, and I survive the Psybeam with red health. Charizard is next, and things aren't looking good. It also outspeeds me and takes me out with a single Ember. Also, Ember? It's like, you're level 40. You should stop using that move. Okay, let's try it again. This time, I get back to Charizard with similar health and actually live through an Ember. But I realize that Petal Dance just isn't gonna deal enough damage. Okay, let's do it again. This time, I'm gonna use Double Edge on Charizard. I survive the Ember, but I take myself out with recoil damage. I can see that it's possible. Alakazam used Confusion, so it may be possible to get past it with enough health to live through 2 Embers while hitting with Double Edge. This time I get a lucky crit on Gyarados, which allows me to take it out and go into the Alakazam fight with full health. It uses Confusion, which means I get to fight Charizard starting with green health for the first time. I make the calculated move to go for Acid second, hoping it will deal enough damage to take the Charizard out. I survive the second Ember with 19 hit points, and take the Charizard out with my Acid. This was so close. I can't believe I had to be level 60 to complete this fight. But while I was doing the fight, I even thought I might have to train higher to get through it. I lucked out and I was able to win. Now onto Giovanni, and he's gonna be obviously very easy. Watch as little Oddish, the terrifying, lays waste to his intimidating Pokemon. My cute ball of lettuce smiling as it lays devastation down. Okay, so that ends now because Sabrina's next, and she is really hard. I tried this fight around 10 times before I finally was able to get a victory. Cadabra outspeeds and deals good damage pretty much every time you fight it. Mr. Mime generally does nothing because it really likes to set up. Venomoth tries to spam Poison Powder most fights. I think it's an AI thing. It did hit me once or twice, but mostly it just uses Poison Powder. After that, Alakazam is the truly terrifying Pokemon. It's a higher level than our rival's Alakazam, so there's no way that we're gonna outspeed it. And if it hits us, it's going to one-hit us. On my lucky run through this fight where I was able to be victorious, Alakazam misses its attack, and my Double Edge takes it out in a single hit. This definitely required a lot of luck. This isn't a fight that I won through skill, but I'm just glad that I was able to make it through it. I could have gone and grinded for another 10 or 20 levels, but I still don't know if that would have made this fight any more consistent. I fight every single trainer in Pokemon Mansion and Blaine's gym. I know I'll need a high level to take on the Elite Four, so now's the time to train. Blaine might be really scary as well. He opens with Growlithe, which ends up going down not putting up much of a fight. After that, Ponyta comes out and gets put into healing range with my first attack. That makes it easy to take out on the next turn. Rapidash outspeeds me and goes for Fire Spin. This could be really bad. Luckily the second Fire Spin misses and I get the knockout. Arcanine is last. Luckily it just uses Ember versus me. Since my special stat is so high, I don't take very much damage and manage to take it down in 2 hits. For what was supposed to be one of the harder gyms, again he's fire, we're grass, this actually went really well. I got a victory on the first fight. Definitely Koga was the hardest so far, and Sabrina was a close second. Giovanni has a similar story. I was a bit worried about the Nidos, but they end up going down easily. His first 2 Pokemon are one-hits with Mega Drain, and that leads to Nidoqueen. I take this fight a bit slower and I go for Mega Drain after realizing that Acid basically does no damage. I don't even know why I thought Acid would be good. With Nidoking, I decide that it might be best to take it out with a single Petal Dance. However, it doesn't take it down in 1 hit. I really make sure that I get a 1-hit knockout on the Rhydon now. Luckily, Petal Dance is 4 times effective against Rhydon and I get an easy victory. Giovanni just really isn't very strong if you have a lot of special moves. Now, the final rival fight before the Elite Four. So he opens with Pidgeot, and I take it out with Double Edge. Rhyhorn gives me a chance to heal with Mega Drain, and Execute goes down in a single Acid. Can't believe Acid is still being useful. Gyarados takes 3 Mega Drains, but can't damage us. Unfortunately, Alakazam is level 50, and if Sabrina's Alakazam was any indication, we're not going to outspeed. We definitely don't outspeed, and it takes us down in a single Psy-Wave. Yikes. Okay, let's try this a couple more times. So I get a really lucky run, and I end up taking the Alakazam out with some amazing luck. However, Charizard after that knows Flamethrower and burns through us fast. I tried coming back at level 75, but I just didn't have quite enough damage to take the Charizard out in 2 hits. After a seriously brutal training spree in the Pokemon Mansion, I come back at level 80. I still can't one-hit the Pidgeot, but it's never been a problem. Gyarados is now a 2-hit, which means I'll always go into the Alakazam fight with full HP. Alakazam goes down to a single Double Edge, and this allows me to move on to Charizard. I'm a bit scared because the first hit doesn't do enough, but luckily the second hit lands a crit, and I'm able to progress to Lorelei. Lorelei is a brainless fight. Mega Drain makes quick work of Dugong and Cloyster. They can hit for good damage with Aurora Beam and Ice Beam respectively, but since I'm using a healing move, it doesn't matter. Slowbro is so trolly and holds on with a sliver of HP. Not like it matters though, the next turn I take it down with 1 Acid. Jinx is next, and Double Edge makes quick work of it. First Lapras, I wanted to be careful and use my highest power move. I go for Petal Dance and pray. Blizzard could be really bad, but luckily my Petal Dance is super effective and it takes the Lapras out in a single hit. Because I'm Grass type and my primary attacking moves are special, Bruno is going to be really easy. I don't even heal before this fight. I one-hit Onix with Mega Drain and fully heal. I take a bit of time to decide what to do versus Hitmonchan, but I choose Mega Drain and it one-hits it. Since Hitmonlee is generally weaker defensively, it goes down in 1 hit as well. The last Onix is, guess what? Also a 1-hit. Machamp comes out and I rarely one-hit this one. This is no different, it survives with a bit of health and uses its typical first turn Leer. Why does the ace Pokemon of an Elite Four member know Leer? Were they thinking that he'd lower your defenses so his fighting moves would hit even harder? Well, he typically uses X Defend the next turn, so I don't really know what they were thinking when they programmed this fight. Agatha is very difficult. Luckily PP aren't an issue in this fight, as both Petal Dance and Mega Drain can hit her Pokemon. Also, the way Petal Dance really helps here, because every time Petal Dance creates the you're thrashing around effect, it doesn't actually use an additional PP, so we actually get a lot of turns of damage versus Agatha. Double Edge is also a great move versus Golbat and Arbok. The strategy here ends up being very luck related. We basically need to be able to attack through confusion and not get hit with Dream Eater when we're asleep after healing. Petal Dance does good damage versus her ghost Pokemon, so it has to be the go-to. As most of her Pokemon know moves that can confuse me, on top of the fact that I'll be confused after the use of Petal Dance, this centralizes the fight on luck. The successful run I did was very lucky. I had 6 HP left on Haunter, and I needed it to miss. Nightshade will one-hit me. I'm also confused, so I can't hit myself. Luckily, I was able to heal and go on to knock out Haunter. Lance is significantly easier than Agatha. His Dragon-type Pokemon all know Agility, so they will only spam that versus Oddish, as it's part Poison type. This makes a lot of this fight trivially easy. Because I only faced him once, I had some clear mistakes in this fight that you're seeing now. I shouldn't be using Petal Dance versus Dragonair, as I can just take it out for free as it spams Agility. There's no reason for me to use Petal Dance and become confused going into the Aerodactyl fight. Aerodactyl is again the Pokemon I'm most afraid of. Luckily, Petal Dance takes it out in one hit. Now check out how trolly Dragonite is. Since it will only use Agility and Barrier, it gets so tanky so fast. Then Lance heals it and makes the battle take even longer. The fight would have been significantly harder in Pokemon Yellow, since Dragonite doesn't have any non-damage dealing moves. I'm thinking of moving most of my runs in the future over to Pokemon Yellow, so if you think that there's a reason that I should continue with Red and Blue, please let me know, but I'm thinking I should move over to Pokemon Yellow just to make this fight a little bit harder. I heal up and use my remaining 10 rare candies. I can't believe I saved them to this point. Now it's time to become the champion. Pidgeot still isn't even a one-hit at level 92, but again, it doesn't pose much of a risk. It can't deal that much damage to us. Alakazam is genuinely scary, as it will probably always outspeed me. I have to tank a Psybeam before I take it out with a Double Edge. Rhydon gives me a chance to heal up after the Alakazam, cause Mega Drain one-hits it and restores all of my health. Exeggutor comes out next. Unfortunately, I had to unlearn Acid, so this fight will be a bit worse. 2 Double Edges take it down, so that's not that bad. I got lucky that its Hypnosis missed, but even if it hit, Exeggutor can't deal much damage, so I'm never that scared of it. Gyarados is next, and I can just Mega Drain it down and gain health back. Finally Charizard, the last Pokemon of the entire game. Now I'm gonna need some luck here. It hits me with a Fire Blast and does a lot less than I was expecting. I attack back with Double Edge and deal good damage. I only need one more Double Edge. Fire Spin. Great. If it keeps spamming this, I'm probably doomed. Luckily it does Fire Spin again, and it misses, and I'm able to seal the deal with one final Double Edge. I do think a bit of luck is required even at level 92 to take the Charizard down. This challenge was both incredibly easy at some points and incredibly hard at other points. The biggest surprise was Mount Moon. It's so funny how Zubat was a wall. Zubat was the previous Pokemon that I had just done a run with, and it never felt wally in that run, but in this run, Zubat was literally a brick wall. Up next, I'll be doing a Tentacool run through Pokemon Yellow. I really want to switch over to Yellow. I've talked about it before. There are less AI issues with Yellow, so it seems like it's going to be overall a harder fight. If you've got an idea for a challenge, please let me know. Also, if you think I missed anything that would have made this run easier, we'd all love to hear about it in the comments below. Like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next challenge.